Alright, hi friends. Josh here with a new drawing I'm going to be doing. Let me get this light out of the way. My goodness, right. Of Geronimo. Geronimo is... Oh, did I already use these gloves? I don't know if I did. Looks like I did. I go through these gloves so much. Here's a new one. If you joined me with yesterday, we did a piece on Samson and Delilah that I've been working on with fountain pens, or calligraphy pens, I guess you would say. Not a fountain pen. And it was a fun little adventure. Today we're going to go over Geronimo, the Apache warrior, the medicine man. He is a very cool character. If you haven't seen some depictions of him through film or whatever, you're missing out, because he is a great historical figure. Sorry. I have learned that my drawing table, I'm allergic to something over here badly, and I can't figure out what it is. So please do forgive me for my sneezing, my blowing of the nose, which I'll be doing apparently quite a bit right now. I'm gonna hold on. Let me put this audio down for a second. Oh man, I don't know what it is, but every time now I sit by my computer and I'm just sneezing, blowing nose, my snot. It could be these gloves. I don't know. I don't know what I'm allergic to, but whatever it is not fun. It's like instantaneous too. But I'm moving locations soon, so hopefully this will end once I get to my office, my new location, and have a new drawing area. What I've been hoping for a long time. But thank you for joining me. If you're just now joining me, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel. That would be a super cool blessing to me. I don't have my other camera set up because I'm using it for, you know what? Could I set it up? Oh, you know what? I can set it up. What am I thinking? Oh, what is happening to my face? Let me get the other camera set up so you guys can have an alternate view, just in case I need to. I've been packing up my my studio, and you never really know how much junk you have until you start packing up and moving, and then you realize, my goodness, I have more junk than I would ever need. And that's the case. That is the case for me. I do have a lot of junk. But why is this not going to reach now? There we go. If you could see the setup on my desk, it looks like I'm like a cyborg, because I have so many cords just going in and out of this desk. And I just sniffed my nose in the mic. I apologize. Well, it'd be smart if I turned on the camera, Josh. Alright. Alright, we're just not gonna do this camera today. Nope. Too much work. Not working out for me. Let me make sure I have this in focus though. So you can see I kind of sketched in Geronimo's head and a little bit of his pose, but we're going to change up his pose because I think I want a little bit more of a just a different sternness to him, because he was kind of a beast of a dude. He didn't take nothing from nobody. He he had this look to him that was kind of ferocious, and I wanted to capture more of a pose of him holding this rifle, kind of showing his his ability to fight, but then also like he's ready to fight. It's part of it's being ready to fight, if I have the gun over here on his left side, it kind of looks like he's done fighting, kind of like he just got done shooting something, but I kind of want him getting ready to shoot something, a little bit more aggressive. So we're going to just switch the gun to his right side, cover up a little bit of his chest, but overall it should look pretty solid. And then bring the gun closer to his face, right? And yeah. So we're going to do that pose, and I'm going to show you how I'm designing it and building it out. Now, if you're texting me and I don't respond, that's because I'm not looking over here to my chat. I'll try to, but let's just say hi. Hi, creatives. And you're all creative, so that's cool. My goodness. Now, I have an H5. Oh, this is a 5B. The way I do this is often just, this shouldn't be in here. What a mess, what a mess, what a mess. Now, something really cool what you could do with leftover shavings of, like, when you're shaving down your pen like this, pencil like this, is actually collect the lead into a small container, because you can build it up pretty quickly. And what you do is you take a brush, a small brush, and you can brush that lead onto the page and really get into the paper a lot better. And it builds a much thicker darkness, which is really cool. And because it's a fun technique to do. There's some artists out there that have even better techniques of, like, liquefying the lead a little bit and then wetting the paper beforehand and such like that. This paper wouldn't handle it. It's too thin. It'll just tear up. Messed up. The good thing about shaving like this, you can get it really fine and deep. That'll do for now. I really don't know what's going on, to tell you the truth, with my nose. I was fine like 12 seconds ago before I got on stream. I don't know what it is. Must be some dust or something over here. Okay, so let's begin. Now, how do we find a pose? Let's zoom in for our homeboy Geronimo. Now, Geronimo is an Apache. One of the more popular Apaches, you would say. And Apaches are a very strong, no take nothing from nobody kind of community of indigenous people here in the North Americas, right, or in America. And they weren't too fancying of the Mexicans back in the day because, you know, they just didn't like each other. Well, of course, the Apaches didn't like the Americans either, but they tried to make things work out. But the Americans would eventually lie to them. The army and the government would just promise things and then move them around because they kept on wanting to take land. It's all about America trying to take over. And the thing about the indigenous is everyone thinks, like, oh, you know, the Indians would come and raid these sweet little colonies that the Americans were just kindly building throughout America. That's not what happened at all. You read your books at all and you'll find that. Did I just break that again? I sure did. Wait, do I not have any lead either? You know what? We're going to switch over to my pencils that are... I have an HB here. I'm going to sharpen this bad boy down. HBs are really nice for drawing because they're just hard enough to do a little bit of shading and just hard and soft enough to do some shading, hard enough to do some fine line work and get some details in. But the Apaches and Geronimo, I mean, the Indians back in the day, and I'm calling them Indians because that's what most people will know them by. They don't prefer to be called that. They prefer to be called indigenous. you know, they were here way before the Americans ever showed up, or most anyone showed up, even the Vikings. They say that they kind of came over when Pangea, when the ice age was not the ice age, but when there was more of an ice age of the North America, and the land masses were retreating. When the ice retracted back, and exposed the large Bering area from the up north by Alaska over to Asia, that they traveled from Asia over into America and then just kind of settled. But we would find that they were kind of already here from South America, when the continents had already been drifted. So it's hard to say. They're still learning about this, and it's really cool that there was a history of it. But a lot of it has been killed off due to the Americans. So go figure. All right, so the indigenous people, some kind of look Asianish, and some have this South American look to them. Very diverse, and nowadays, you pretty much find them looking almost European and white because of the mixing and stuff. But Geronimo here, was it Goyakla? Goyakla is his other name, I believe, and he fought to make sure that the Americans weren't pushing them out. Kind of sad they did get pushed out quite a bit, but we'll talk about that later after I figure out his pose. So the pose I'm going for is going to be kind of settling with his hand being close to his face. So I kind of want his hand to kind of be squared off hand. Maybe I'll bring it here. Let's do that. It's best to do a little bit of block so you know what the depth of his hand and how big it's going to be. So I'm not going to go into any details quite yet. His hand might be a little bit bigger than that. And we're going to have it come down here. And you got to remember when you're doing the hand to measure it, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4 hands, knuckles. 1, 2, 3, 4. And his elbow is going to be right about here. Okay. Okay, and then his bicep goes up 1, 2, 3. Oh man, my math is bad right now. But you could just decipher that one. I eyeball it, always have. And it kind of works out quite well. But then you have to take into fact that there's a depth to it. His arm isn't fully locked in perfectly parallel to the camera or to the viewer. So it's going back a little bit. So the depth is going to be skewed in this direction. So I want his shoulder right about at ear level. So if his ear's here, his shoulder should come about the tip here. And then we should see the wrinkles of his fabrics kind of allowing his fabric wrinkles a lot, especially if it's a different leather, which the indigenous wore a lot, or a cloth and other fabrics. So you gotta really make it baggy, but we're just doing the pose right now. And you can see that this is a little bit more aggressive than having it leaning on his shoulder over here. Now his rifle is going to be kind of being maintained in this direction. So the butt of the rifle come out at an angle. So you got to think that there's also a 3-dimensional angle. I'm just going to draw this line here so you can know the shadow that's going to be going downwards here, right? And we can just make it a square for now, just so you can kind of get it. I'll go clean it up later. This is foundational work. It does matter. Doesn't matter enough to where you can't mess up. So it's kind of cool. It's the best part of pencil work is you can mess up. We want the cloth to go over his gun a little bit to make it disappear, so you know that it's on his shoulder into his cloth. Now you can always use a ruler. That is always a good thing to do when you're making guns, because guns are very symmetrical and they're built off of really perfect lines, and you want to get those lines just right. Right. Yeah. Okay. And that's that. Now, what kind of gun is this? We're going to have to actually figure that out shortly. I'm going to have to look up what gun he actually uses. For now, we're just doing the rifle pose. The pose is what's important. Give me a millisecond so I can blow my nose for the 1 millionth time. You ever feel like you're just blowing your brains out of your face? I absolutely believe I am. How are you guys doing? You having a good day? Having a bad day? How was your day? If it's nighttime, morning? If it's nighttime, I hope that you've had a decent day and your rest will be nice and wonderful. If you had a bad day, just remember, tomorrow can be better, and usually is. And if it's not going to be, well, join the club. We're in this together. All right, so we got his hand. What comes from here after designing this a little bit is the kind of fabric we're going to use, what kind of outfit he's going to be wearing. I'm going to have to look at a reference online to see what kind of clothes he wore. Okay. But we already have his chest built out, his kind of structure of how big he was. I'd already got that far. And a little bit of this is guessing. A little bit of this is just me playing around with poses that I know that I can do. Now, you're gonna have a rifle chamber. I know I don't know the gun, but it just helps me kind of start building out. Now the light source. Where's the light coming from? I'm just gonna have to make it straight from above, up here, and the shadows will be down below. This area right here is going to be his face up close. It's going to be a more realistic, purely pencil drawing, but the inking is going to be here, and we'll go through the inking probably in the next live stream. But for now, we're just going to draw. So let's find a Geronimo gun. Man, that's a beast. That guy is so cool. I love it. The outfits he wore are almost a mix between, you know, the modern time of those days, kind of like the cowboy look with the suit and kind of this beautiful tie. And then they dressed him up and made him feel more white than he actually was. But what a man. He is awesome. I saw a movie with him. Geronimo, an American Story, I think it is. I think that's the name of it. It was butchered. The truth was butchered hardcore, but can't deny that the guy had class. He liked to look good, you know. Now, I'm going to go with the most indigenous outfits. I don't like the fact that he wears that kind of stuff, even though that's what most of his photos are at. We're going to avoid that because, honestly, we need to reinstate the culture of Geronimo. So I'm sorry. If you disagree with that, get over it. I want the indigenous to have the representation. So, you know what's cool? You know how like moccasin shoes have like those tassels hanging off? We're going to do that look. Because he wore an outfit that was pretty dope that I am a fancy of. Before that, let's just color in some stuff. fun. This weekend, I am going to be heading over to San Francisco for meeting with the team about the indigenous documentary we're creating. That is going to really, hopefully, change the game. Because the problem with a lot of the indigenous information coming out now is it's being glamorized, which is great, but there's no one talking about the awareness of the issues. It's another format of America just hiding the indigenous issue by giving them something that makes them feel seen, but not really heard. And the Oscars and these winners of the Golden Globes, they're winning these awards as she, what's her name, is winning. Lily Gladstone is winning for it, and great for her, awesome. I don't want to take away anything from her. She worked hard for this, but let's be real. We see what America does a lot of the time with foreign actors and stuff like that. Like, okay, we had an all Asian award ceremony 2 years ago because there was a need for Asian actors to have representation. Now we have indigenous. Then we had black. We're gonna have Mexican. We're gonna have Chinese. We're gonna always do that because the Oscars are not really about your skill set. It's about, the studios pretty much paying for winners and stuff like that. And that's what most of us don't watch anymore. I don't watch the Oscars anymore because it's just rigged all the way through. I used to love the Oscars. It was my favorite time of the year to see what movies won. But it's gotten too much. It's too much. It's too much nonsense, and it's not fair. It's not fair to not fair to the actors who worked really hard. I'm not saying she doesn't have the skills. She does have the skills to win that award, and she did win that award. Was it fair and square? I'm not going to agree that it was, even though I think that the indigenous need representation and all. Honestly, there were other movies out there that had far better acting than Flowers of Broken Moon. And if you haven't seen that, Flowers of the Broken Moon? I don't know. I forget the name of it. The book is great, though. Why am I not remembering this? Yeah, I went through the book. The book holds so much more information. Oh, God. Oh, my goodness. Than the movie did. And honestly, the reason why I'm kind of mad about the movie a little bit is because it was still told from a white man's perspective. I just don't get it. Get the indigenous person to tell the truth through it. And then the whole movie the book is kind of from her perspective, not Leonardo DiCaprio. And yet, Martin Scorsese made it from DiCaprio's point of view, which was annoying. Absolutely annoying. Because I'm like, what? It's false representation. If you watch it, it's a great movie. It's long. Honestly, I think it's a little bit too long, and I love long movies like Dune and all these other movies. And longer the movie, the better for me. But that one was a little bit too long for what he was trying to do, and he didn't even add most of the information, which was super disappointing. I should probably do the gun. Eesh. But I'm going to San Francisco to start this documentary to give representation. And the thing is that I'm a Korean American, so I have no real right to represent the indigenous in any faction whatsoever. But we're building it out so that the indigenous communities that want creative people who are indigenous can take over, and they don't have to do some of the tedious, boring work of building the website and all that jazz. And they can run the organization and make films and make content and music and stuff like that and having a connection to the world where they can be seen more appropriately. And all different communities of indigenous will be able to do this, and it will be kind of like, the idea is, if what if all the churches actually agreed on something, you know what I mean? What if all the communities actually agreed on something, and were able to, as a foreigner, as a person outside the communities who don't know anything about indigenous, they can go to this website, they can go to these and find all the languages of the communities. I want to say tribes, because I think a lot of people understand the word tribes better for the indigenous. When I say communities, it can mean many things for different people, but tribe seems to be a little bit more on the Indian. If I say Indian, I'm not trying to be offensive. It is just what was most commonly been used. So, like, there's that, and I want to be able to create that. So we've been creating the website and creating the structure for it, and hopefully when it's all done this weekend, we're going to get a lot of it done, get a podcast going so you know who we are, and we're not trying to like steal the spotlight from the indigenous, which a lot of movies and people do because they want to represent the indigenous. I would rather just have the indigenous represent themselves. But none of them have actually created a site that feels like they're welcoming to people who want to know more, because I haven't found one yet. And I figured if I haven't found it, I might as well make it myself. So that's what we're doing. It's going to be a lot of work. It's very hard. But it's going to be good. It's going to be very good. I'm going to get a little pushback on it because I think some people are thinking that I'm just doing it for myself. Actually, I'm working for an indigenous woman, a chief, actually. She's the one who's kind of foreseeing everything, and overseeing everything, making sure I'm not saying anything inappropriate on the site, things that I'm building, if I'm using the right colors, the right animals, the right language for things, because it's not easy doing this kind of stuff when you don't have a full understanding of the information of every single community or tribe. It's just not out there because a lot of it has been killed off. The Americans have literally, and Canadians have annihilated it. It's interesting to think that Canada is a huge culprit with the residential schools. So there's a lot to be done, and I love the indigenous people more than they know I love them, because to me that they have resilience. To me, they believe in a God, the creator, in a way that I think all people should do. But can I say should? Maybe, yeah, I probably could say should. Because when they kill animals, they don't take the abuse of like killing 100 animals and say, well, we'll just store this away. No, they use it, eat it, and use every single part for what is necessary, and then they make sure the animal is well taken care of in its death, and it feeds a community, and they don't go overboard. And I think that's fantastic. Where America today, we're ruined because of our gluttony. And I'm the same. I love my burgers, but I'm learning to starting to eat more vegetables and substitute my meats, and unless I really want a meat. I'm gonna start fishing again. That way I'm catching my food. There's too many. Cows are like kind of big dogs, and pigs are even more like big dogs. And I think for me, I'm not judging anybody, but just for myself, I've eaten a lot of meat in my life, and I think it's time for me to kind of chill out a little while and start being more healthier and eating more vegetables, and because I think what it was I think it was not too long ago I was eating a burger, and I asked, I think I actually was yesterday. I did it too. I asked for a double bacon, double patty cheeseburger, and I loved it. I love it. But I realized, I was like, man, this cow might not have been eaten if I didn't order it, or so much goes to waste, and so I'm really attempting to learn to stop being so meat hungry, because everything I eat has meat in it, and this meat has to be produced at such high rates that it cannot be productive or healthy for the animal's lifestyle, for my lifestyle, for anyone's lifestyle, honestly. And I don't know. My wife and I agreed. It's like, you know what? You're right. We just gotta. It's not like we have to stop eating meat altogether, but maybe we shouldn't just every time we go out look for the first meat thing. Like maybe there's some really good vegetables out there. Like there's a lot of ethnic foods out there that focus a lot on fried vegetables and good veggies that make you forget all about needing meat. And for that situation in that case, I just want to be more self-conscious about stuff, and and I mean, I spent my whole life eating meat. Every type of animal I can get a hold of, I ate it. No joke. I was pretty much the carnivore. I eat more than most Texans actually eat, which is kind of funny. Koreans eat meat like it's no joke. That's our jam. Barbecue, if you haven't had a Korean barbecue, you're missing out. Oof, 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 oof. All right, so I have here. I'm trying to draw his kind of leather top because I think I want to have him sitting on a horse. He often rode a horse, and I think I'll have this arm holding on to the the handle of the saddle or the hair of the horse. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with that, but when we get there, we'll get there. So the pose is supposed to be a little bit fierce, like I said. He's got the gun ready. He's looking at something in front, and his arm is about to throw down the gun and shoot it. Okay, so if that's that way, his stomach is going to be popping over. His wrinkles will be here. Throw one wrinkle there. There's some shadows. Now we got to figure out the gun thing because that's going to bother me. Let's look for his gun. Here we go. Man, that's a janky little gun. So it looks like it's a round one with I don't know what gun that is. Need a better picture. There we go. So there's a more bow to it, and it's a kind of handle is that. It's gonna go around his finger. And it's a smooth drop with a ring around it right here. And then it goes to a one barrel. So it's a one barrel. And then his hair should be seen. Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna add some scratches and details here. Being from Texas, there's a lot, like pretty much everyone I know has guns, rifles and stuff. I had some when I was growing up. I'm a pretty good shot too. To tell you the truth, I'm a very good shot with the rifle. Handgun, I am the worst. The handgun, you could put a bottle literally 2 feet in front of me, and I could put my barrel right against that bottle, touching it, and I will still miss it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I went to the shooting range, and there was a target like 10 feet in front of me, and I had a handgun. Of course, I was using this one called the Judge. Not easy to hold because it takes shotgun shells for a handgun pretty much. And I was just shooting all over the place. I don't even know if I hit that target once. But you gave me a rifle, and I set up it's like 100 yards, not 100 yards. It was far. I don't know which one I shot, but it was really far. And I put a paperclip at the end of the on top of it, and I wasn't aiming for the actual target itself. I was actually for the paperclip, and sure enough, it didn't take me but 2 tries to knock that thing down. It got to be further than 100 yards. It had to be like, maybe it was 100 yards. I don't remember, but it was far. I'm a pretty good shot. Well-tuned scope, I can do it. Even with the just using the barrel scope. I'm pretty decent. I'm even better with the shotgun, but shotguns are easy. Can't really call that a fair, shotguns are way too easy. Going skeet shooting and duck shooting and stuff like that is just, I enjoy it though. I can't lie. It's not fun. I don't think we should have that access to guns that easily. In fact, I think it's part of the reason why Texas has so many school shootings and shootings, period. Or the U.S. I think they should put trackers on every single gun. I don't think the government's going to be like, oh, I know where their guns are at. Well, if they know where their guns are, they still have to come and get it from you. And if you know they're coming to get it from you, like, you can defend yourself, America. But if they have trackers and it gets anywhere near a school, it could alert the police, and bada boom, bada bang. My personal thoughts. Me as even a person who, grew up around them, I find them to be a little bit destructive. More destructive than they should be. There's an argument saying, oh, it's not the gun that kills a person, it's a man who kills a person. It's like, no. That man could use a knife, and it'd be a lot more difficult to take out of school with a knife. Trust me. But it ain't happening. And then there's also this mentality in Texas to be like cowboys and protect the history and culture of guns and stuff like that. But remember back in the Western days, and these days here, when the indigenous were fighting for land and territory, it was the wild, wild west. Like, you could take a man out and shoot him, and if it was justified by means of like gambling issues or whatever, you can get away with it. You might go to jail for a few days, but if you got bond, you're out. And things were settled by showdowns and high noon, quick draws. It's ridiculous. So there's a lot to it that I don't agree with and have found historically to be misrepresented, and and then Texans also were defending their state by a long shot from Mexico and all these kind of attacks for land and stuff. But I don't know, man. I wish there wasn't such a violent aggression towards or need for guns. Just don't find them necessary. I'm a big fan of samurai, That's probably why. I'm super excited to draw some samurai stuff. Man, Geronimo has a lot of pictures of himself looking wild. But I'm trying to find this one specific picture of him I saw with his belt on a. Oh, there we go. He had the satchel thing. Doesn't look like he's wearing any pants in this photo riding this horse. There we go. Here's his outfit. So, I'm going to draw this in. Sorry. Honestly, I need a photo of him on a horse. Geronimo, where's your horse? Let's find just a horse photo of. Indigenous didn't have saddles very much, so they ride these horses bare. Well, maybe some cloth on it, but what a beast. If you've ever ridden horses without that saddle, it hurts. Oof. My. I don't have any photos of him on a horse. Okay. Well, let's just do an Indian on a horse. Indian on a horse. Oh, I got some. What's that? Why is that like that? Okay. Just looking for this right pose. It's just really, really tough to find a pose that I'm looking for. Humbug. You know what? We're just going to make up a horse. Whatever. Just have to deal with it. Oh, there we go. I found one semi-image. It's actually another drawing. I don't want a drawing. I want to have an actual photograph, so I'm kind of accurate. Let's see if I can. No! Oh my gosh! What just happened? My screen went black. What? Oh, good grief. Now I gotta start all over on my search. Great. Why are you guys messing with me? Found it. Okay, so for the pose, I don't have. We have to remember his hips are here. Okay, his crotch area is right about here. Let's give him some cojones, and then his leg's going to be reaching around. So the horse is going to be coming up already. His neck, and then most likely his neck will come up here, and then Geronimo must be holding the reins. So let's give some depth to it, and then his hands would be here. It's a little bit buff side. I don't like that. I think I'm going to extend his arm upwards as if he's pulling the horse to the left, maybe. Remember, I was doing 1, 2, 3. The extension of the arm is going to look a lot longer on the left side due to the fact that it's not crunched up and built in all these wrinkles, which I probably need one more wrinkle here. Yeah. Okay, so now that we have that, maybe we'll have his reins kind of ripping around. Well, it wouldn't be loose like that. It would have to be pretty tight because it's coming around. It'd be loose on the other side, in which and then I mean, drama probably going to have this cloth wrapped around. They don't sit on saddles, they just sit on this cloth that's draped over. Poor horses, their backs must have been murdering them. And of course the hair, let's have it on this side, his mane. And then some crunched up hair, because that thing's pulling on it, so you don't want to just draw straight hair down and then draw this line. If it's going to cross the hair, you need to make it feel realistic, and so there's going to be some like crunched up hair and some loose hairs bringing out on the side. Okay, and then you continue. So the angle of the hair will change a little bit once it hits this rope because it's touching. You can have some coming over top, save you the hassle of drawing everything. And since this is just pencil, we're going to go over and detail it later with the pen, and it's going to look all pretty and nice. I'm going to have some hairs here just kind of fluffed up and so the head of the horse, I'm going to imagine, is you're going to probably have to cut the hair here, and then say he's got a black horse. He may have had a white horse. I don't know. Horses are majestic animals. They are absolutely beautiful and wonderful creatures. Dangerous, though. Very dangerous. Most people who ride them and fall off them are paralyzed. I think it's Christopher Reeves. Is it Christopher Reeves? Superman, the original Superman. That's how he was paralyzed, from what I remember. And that's sad. And the reason why it's so dangerous is because when you get knocked off a horse, the way the horse is, your body is trying to stay on, but the horse launches you off, and sometimes the horse will land on top of you, and it's not like a light horse. You're talking about a horse that's so freaking heavy that it'll just either crush your spine or not. But when you hit the ground, you're falling from like 7 feet, right, straight on your spine. There's not enough time to turn, right? It's so quick. And so when you hit that spine onto solid rock or hard ground, unless it's like sand, that spine is going to take so much of that pressure. And usually you're going to be breaking some nerves and shattering some stuff. And it's a horrible experience. And then that's why bull riding is so dangerous and stuff like that, and horse riding. It's just, you got to really learn how to fall. You got to really learn how to take care of the horse and the horse's demeanor and everything. It is not something to be done with lightly and not be taken lightly. You need to take it seriously. If you ever ride horseback, don't play around. Don't play around. Not on horses. You know. Okay, so his neck is way too short. That's not right. The proportions of a horse are always difficult for me because you have to have his head and his jawline here. Get this out there, and then pretty much go straight down, and then we're gonna go here, and then if you're watching, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. We're moving on up. We're getting a lot of followers lately, and I'm super thankful for everyone who has subscribed to my channel. It's really appreciative. I thank you. I'm an artist that has been doing filmmaking and a lot of traveling and work overseas for both nonprofits and things like that my whole life. But I've always, I've worked internationally doing art and photography, film for different companies. But art in this style, the historical art stuff, is really my passion. And I'm trying to get it to where I can give back to the community and educate some people about history and truths that are not really told from the perspective of the people that have been oppressed. And for example, like North Korea, right? Everyone thinks North Korea is this super oppressive country, which, well, I guess it kind of is, but it's also got a lot of beauty to it. And I've been blessed to go there and plant rice there and and do a lot of good, do some work there. And it's all due to the people that have been there are amazing. And I have some friends there that are, North Korean, that are amazing. And I love the North Korean people. Have some of the best sense of humor I've ever seen in people, honestly, tell you the truth. And there's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of hate around these communist countries that, back in the day, if you even were thought to be communist, you were interrogated and killed in America. The spy would take you out because they just hated communism without even really knowing really what they were doing themselves was psychotic. But it was a whole different time too. They were, communism was a lot of spies, a lot of stuff going on. But in that, I think there's a lot of misconceptions today about what's happening overseas. The news, you can't even trust the news anymore because they're just legacy media, and all these other things are just lying about everything. It's absolutely wild how they get away with lying about stuff. Like straight lies, not even like partial lies, but hardcore lies. And yet, no one fact checks enough to care because we're all busy with our lives to really care if it's true or not. So I figure that a lot of history has been hidden, and I want to really reveal a lot of fun stuff. Now, I don't know everything. I definitely do not. I'm learning half the time too. So, this is just a process. It's a really fun process to help educate, help my students. I used to be a teacher for 6 years, and my students didn't know a lot of stuff that you would think is common, right? And I just want to help continue that education system and teach and, be something good in the world, I guess. I miss Mr. Rogers. I miss Steve Irwin. I miss people like Bruce Lee, and where they had this passion to do good and teach and break the rules for the better, and yet they're the ones who don't seem to last. It's hard to find anybody good these days. So I'm trying to do that. I'm not saying I'm good. I'm a complete jerk a lot of the time too. But I love people a lot. I love my students. I love my kids. Not my kids. I don't have kids, but the kids that I've taught, I love them. They're amazing. Ooh, someone sent me some messages. I'm currently in a religious battle with some churches right now. So fun. So fun. I'm not going to go into it on this channel, though. But a lot of fun stuff with that. One of my favorite things is the Bible. It's got the coolest stories ever written, I think, in them. Egyptian stories are pretty dope, too, and the Greeks, oh my gosh, man. Their lore and mythology is just out of control cool. But, I should have done that line. So we have the pose here. We're doing pretty good. I think I've accomplished quite a bit for the sketching. The inking is going to look fun. If you haven't seen my other drawing of Chief Joseph of Nez Perce, I do a piece on him and his history. You can find out on my YouTube channel. So like I said, the reins are going to have to, if he's holding it here, you're going to have a much more droopy rein here coming down the rope that goes to the, I guess the girdle or the face of the horse, right? And to separate it, I can't speak English. English is my second language, everybody. Calm down. It's pretty much my first language now, but originally I was born speaking Korean. Yeah, go figure. But then I got a Texas accent, started eating at McDonald's, and there it went away. All right. Let's look at it. How's it look? Let me blow my nose. I'm sorry. I have a pile of tissues all beside me. All right. Wow, my face. So, if you don't know anything about Geronimo, let me give you a little bit of stuff. Oh man, my nose is about to do it again. Sorry. Oh my goodness, I can't even breathe. I can't without thinking about this. Blew my nose. Geronimo's Geronimo's resistance was fueled because he wanted to protect his Chiricahua Apache homeland, right? That was encroaching by the Mexicans and U.S. forces. Like they were teamed up to kind of push out the indigenous, right? Especially the Apaches. And the Apache War spanned from 1850 to the 1880s. Geronimo was the head honcho who pretty much led these things, and they trusted in him to lead the people. Now, some Apaches left out, and he told them, like, hey, if you can go be protected and safe, but, you know, we want to fight for our land. My nose. He was like, he was really cool because he was like this guerrilla hit and run kind of leader. My face. And to think that the Mexicans and the American force, U.S. forces, were not handling him and his small troops of men is amazing. In the 1870s, it got a lot worse, and the Native American tribes, the indigenous tribes, we had to move to the reservations, what we call reservations today, right? But you know, Geronimo had a really good strategy and skill set of leading and fighting. So he wouldn't refuse, though. He's like, nah, dude, no, I'm not going to give up. And they pursued him. They were just like, we're just going to take you out. So they pretty much chased them through Arizona, New Mexico, Mexico. He went everywhere. They wanted him to move to Florida, which is ridiculous. And then Geronimo's ability to navigate, you know, the terrain and stuff is pretty much what kept him evading the U.S. forces and Mexicans. But eventually Geronimo had to surrender. 1886, it was the end of the Apache resistance, and the hardships that his people had to face were, you know, kind of relocated into like internment camps and stuff like that in the reservation. But here's the thing, is that when he surrendered, he was promised to be able to be moved over to a different land and taken care of. But what did the U.S. government do? What they always do. They straight up trick you and lie. And then they took Geronimo and his people over to prison in the Fort Sill. He went to Florida for prison, and then they got transferred over to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, where I think he died. I believe he died. Anyways, you know, he did have some fun stuff. He participated in the 1904 like St. Louis World Fair and stuff like that, and yeah, his plea for his people to be taken care of weren't recognized. But you can get his autobiography and stuff like that, and it's really, I don't know how accurate it is. I hope it's written by an indigenous person, but I think it's probably an American or U.S. Soldier or something. He died in prison in 1909, and yeah, eventually his Chiricahua Apache tribe would be dispersed, and it would just kind of lose a lot of its tangible history due to the colonization of the Americas, and a lot of the government stuff has just been radical, you know. We can see a lot of that today through what we're doing in the Middle East. We're just kind of either forcing the countries to adapt our concepts of culture and rule and dominance, or face our nuclear warheads, pretty much. But in this situation, we didn't have those weapons, thank goodness. But what they did have was really good weapons, as in like bigger, better, badder guns for the U.S. troops. And of course, their forces were huge and easily replenishable compared to the Apaches, which were just being depleted. But the Apaches are beasts. They're awesome. They fought hard and well, and you can't really complain about if you don't know how to fight as an Apache, because these guys were indigenous and they just knew the land, and they knew how to take out people with bows and arrows, and guns, of course. I mean, he's got a gun, but just a brilliant leader, resilient in every way possible, and I admire that about the indigenous. They know how to do it right. So next image is going to be his face right here, okay? and then maybe I'll draw a little bit of the territory map up here somewhere, or maybe in the backdrop. But we're gonna do inking tomorrow, and that'll be fun. Tomorrow is Friday. No, tomorrow is Friday. Wow, this week went by fast. So please join me tomorrow when I ink this guy, and I tell you more about stuff while I'm blowing my nose. I promise you guys that my nose blowing and the sinus stuff hopefully will end. If I have to take medicine when I do this, I will. But what time is it? I thank you for watching. Please, like I said, like and subscribe. Hit that notification button so whenever it comes up, you're notified of when I go on live streams. I haven't really been promoting live streams beforehand. It's just kind of the spur of the moment every day. If I get a moment to do it, I jump on. But I'm trying to do it every single day, so expect it every day. Now, next week, I will be traveling from Sunday till Tuesday, so I may not be able to do it. But if I can, I will do it for at least 30 minutes. Some way, somehow. I just have to find internet connection up there. And I'll keep out. Maybe I'll show you guys a little bit less art, and maybe about kind of the lifestyle of an artist too. I've been wanting to do that because I've been looking for honest information on how to become a professional artist that other people have done. I've been doing it for majority of my life in different types of art, the photography and videography. But as for drawing, it's kind of like I've done it for a little bit now, and there's not enough information on the internet to help young people or even older, anybody, any age, to become an artist and feel confident about it. So I'm going to try to produce some of that work. Good grief, Geronimo. So if you like that idea and you have questions or topics that you want me to bring up or address, by all means, please leave it in the comments or message me privately on my exo.chocolam on Instagram, or Inktologist on Instagram, at Inktologist on Instagram, or just here on YouTube, and I will get back to you ASAP as much as I can see it. It's weird because I don't see some of these comments until much later, and I feel bad because I feel like people say some really wonderful things and I don't get to address it right away. I feel terrible. Forgive me. But I'm going to be putting out content that's related to being an artist, being designing stuff and drawing, and even how to sell stuff. Now, the selling thing, since I'm doing a different route by selling prints, I may try Patreon, but I heard Patreon's dying, so I don't know. I'm trying to figure things out in that way. My website is still not up because I have been working on like I said, the indigenous website and my trading card game, which is called I Am Champion TCG. If you like trading card games, I created this game to be something different from everything ever made ever. And it's been a brainchild of both my artist Jesse Perry, which I'm not the artist actually, I'm the developer and kind of the runner of it all. And he does an amazing job drawing, and I couldn't really replicate his art, so that's why I got him to do it, because it's fun, it's retro. It's kind of like if you were in the 90s and you played Pokemon for the first time. It's got that feel of collecting, but it's fun and it's good for kids, good for adults. It has lots of innuendos for adults, but kids will never know. But it plays super fast, super easy, and I really enjoy the game. And we're about to start tournaments on Valentine's for the game, because the game itself is hilarious and fun. It's to explain it in one, like a little combination, it'd be like Pokemon meets that's not even as hard as Pokemon, honestly, to tell you the truth. It's fun. It's got the cool characters and stuff like that, but it's like Mortal Kombat meets Pokemon, but with a lot of easier rules. You can learn the rule. The rules are on each card pretty much, and it's like a couple words. So, and it takes a dice. It's amazing. It's a phenomenal game. And yeah, we've been doing it for a couple years now, and having tournaments and people playing on Discord. You can join. If you have any questions about it, you can find my stuff. Just I Am Champion TCG. You can look it up on the website. Anyways, we're not here to promote my game. We're here to promote art and history, and encourage you to be creative. I think you're creative. I know you're creative. And the cool thing is that while we're on this planet experiencing 2024 together, I want you to create, because you might not have the confidence, but I would love to see your creativity, whether around it, and I'm sure it's awesome. whether you think you have the skills or not, go create. Be brave, like Geronimo here. He knew he wasn't going to succeed against the U.S. Military, but he wasn't going to give up. And sure enough, now he's part of great history for the Chiricahua Apaches. So, creatives, thanks you for joining, and